Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast we discuss all things USMNT, La Selección Mexicana, and La Liga MX. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo on this 4th of July. Adrian, what's going on, man? How are you?
How's it going, dude? Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. It's nice to be here. Glad to have the day off so we can do this and talk about what the one of the things that I enjoy the most, which is football.
Football, the most non-American thing on July 4th. Right? But man, this is the preview episode for the Gold Cup final. That's going to be played in the NRG Stadium in Houston on Sunday, the 6th. Once again, Adrian, all our PG listeners, this is who would have guessed it? Another final, Mexico-USA. Yep, and it's actually been a while since it's been a Mexico-USA final. Just because either Mexico hasn't brought their A team and hasn't made it when USA made it, or vice versa. USA hasn't made it when they brought their B team and Mexico brought their A team. We remember Mexico-Panama being the most recent one, right? But this is finally Mexico-USA again in a competitive match, Adrian. It's been since I guess the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. Mexico has won the most recent one in an international friendly back in the 2024 October, right? We know that was Pochettino's first match against Mexico in Guadalajara, no less. But before that, Adrian, USA was on a 7-win streak and only one friendly between those 7. So they had beaten Mexico in Nations League and Gold Cups and World Cup qualifying, or win or tie, right? In World Cup qualifying, in Nations League. So this is the first real official match that Mexico's gonna have a chance to end that streak and turn it around. And I think this is a good opportunity for them, and probably the best opportunity for them in a while. They're facing a pretty weak and uninspired USA team, and Mexico's playing every game. We talked about it in our review after the match against Honduras. Every game, Mexico seems to be playing better and more concise, right?
Yeah, despite what the pundits and the Mexican media has been saying about Mexico, how it's lackluster, doesn't necessarily makes you feel that you want to watch the games, or makes you think that Mexico is actually doing better. I think if we are not clickbaity in any way whatsoever, Mexico has shown to improve slightly, right? But not everything is dire, not everything is bad, not everything is a house on fire kind of deal like they make it seem. Yes, Mexico has it has been a rough couple of years with Mexico, specifically talking about the pool of talent or talent pool. But yeah, I think all things considered, looking at this tournament, Mexico has been improving match by match, slowly, but definitely refining its version towards this final.
Redefining its version, knowing what it's playing as, it's how they're wanting to play going forward. Vasco's finally ingraining that in them. Something we didn't see under Diego Coca, something we didn't see under Jaime Lozano. And I think it's showing here. Again, yeah, I agree with you. It's not Mexico's best version by any means. We know this isn't Mexico's best squad ever, but it's a squad that is finally connecting and clicking at the right time. And it's going to be an interesting match for them. They're obviously, Mexico leads the final head-to-head final record against USA, 5-2, 5 wins, 2 losses. And yeah, it's gonna be a final where I think it might be more one-sided than not. We'll get to that in our predictions, but how did each team get here? Obviously, Mexico got here beating Honduras. Before that, they beat Saudi Arabia. They are the defending champions. They are unbeaten in this tournament, key players to watch for Mexico, Adrian, I think it's going to be the impact players, right? The goal scorer, Raul Jiménez, Edson Álvarez controlling the midfield, and Malagon going to be finally tested where he doesn't have to show up in big time and justify being a starter over Ochoa. Who are your other key players you think that we need to watch for Mexico here?
Listen, I think definitely we should keep a close eye on. I think whoever's going to be the left back. Whoever's going to be the left back is going to be a crucial play by Elasco Aguirre. Whether it's going to be Mateo Chavez, I think it's going to be Jesus Gallardo. I don't think he's going to risk it. But I think whoever plays on that side of the pitch will carry some responsibility, pushing the team forward. And I also have to look, this is going to be a little different. Normally you'll say that you'll discuss an impact player from the starting 11. I'm going to discuss someone who I think can be an impact player on this match. But, you and I have criticized or just mentioned, right, pointed towards him recently because he's not necessarily meshing with Mexico, and that's Santiago Jiménez. I think this is an opportunity for him to, prove that he might not be the starting striker, but he is definitely a solution on the bench when needed, right?
Yep.
Yes, he doesn't have the responsibility of being the striker for Mexico all 90 minutes, but he can definitely carry the flag and carry the team as a super sub. I think that's another key player that we got to follow here.
We know he's familiar with scoring in finals and Gold Cup finals, so
Mm-hmm.
something that again it could be up. It could be up to Santi Jimenez a moment of brilliance, and that kind of seals it for Mexico. Mexico accustomed to in the last couple of matches playing 4-3-3. I think Vasco has kind of solidified that formation, solidified that starting lineup again, minus maybe the left back, like you said. We're a fan of Mateo Chavez, how he played the last game. I don't think the left back position is as critical as maybe we've discussed in the past. Against this U.S. team, you're not going to be facing a speedy Tim Weah, right? Or, a Sergino Dest or somebody. You're going to be facing a Berhalter, or you're going to be facing a Luna, who depending how he puts them, who might be the dangerous one, but it's not really a speed demon, right? They're going to be facing down that wing. But I agree. I think it's going to come down to really controlling that midfield and how Mexico distributes to Raúl Jiménez, to Santiago Jiménez, and how they're able to break down the USMNT backline, a backline who's been shaky. But I think the two center backs are experienced. They're both Premier League players. Well, Tim Ream no longer, but Richards is a Premier League player, Carabao Cup winner. But they're going to have to be targeting them, the speed of Tim Ream, their lack of speed, and maybe target that left back position from the USMNT, Arfston, who we know has made a lot of errors this Gold Cup. But do you think Vasco keeps that 4-3-3, Adrian?
I think he's going to stick to it, man. I don't see why he would try something different on this specific match. I mean, the most important game of the entire tournament, and trying to make something different. I think he's going to stick to the 4-3-3. It's no brainer for me. I think the only big change here will be the left back position. I don't think he's going to be making any big moves up front or in the middle. I don't foresee that. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, every single player is healthy. There's no doubts in his mind as to who needs to start. We need to continue to see Marcel Ruiz, Gilberto Mora, and Edson Alvarez in the middle. The same back line where we have Julian Araujo, Cesar Montes, Johan Vasquez, and then, as I said, Jesus Gallardo. So I think that's going to be the mainstays for this match. Maybe we'll see Gilberto Mora starting on the bench just because it's a high stakes match. But hey, I mean, against Saudi Arabia and against Honduras, both of them were high stake matches, if you ask me. And I think Gilberto Mora did quite decently.
Yeah. All right. No, I think you're right. I think Vasco has his lineup, has his game plan. Flipping it over to the United States side, Adrian, USA, obviously, like I said in the beginning of this video, it's a 6-game win streak of, if you count just non-friendlies, right? So they're going to want to keep that going. Though that was a completely different team that had those win streaks against the Mexico. That was a team with Tim Weah, Pulisic, Balogun, Pepe, McKinney, all those. Cedinho Dest, Jedi Robinson. None of those starters are on this team, right? Even coach is different. So I think USA is underdogs going into this match, especially a game being played in Houston, where it's going to be a local game we know for Mexico.
Yeah.
But this USA team has failed to impress. I think us and pundits are in agreement that, well, maybe not all Mexico pundits, but for the most part, I think there's been a lot of positivity surrounding Mexico. But I think the opposite can be said. A lot of pundits and fans are negatively viewing this USA team. Even though they've been advancing, they've been winning. It's not been convincing. It's a team where they're heavily reliant on a lot of MLS-based players, a team lacking a number 9. How can this team damage a Mexico who's been so consistent without a number 9 and without really a playmaker other than Tillman and Luna, Adrian? I mean, who are the players to watch in your eyes for this USA squad?
I think the players to watch here will be definitely the center backs, either Chris Richards or Tim Ream. We'll see if they can, handle the movement of El Lobo, Raúl Jiménez. I think, either of them players, I think, will be someone to follow, right? Not necessarily because I think they will have a direct impact on the score in the sense of scoring goals, right? But more of can they get their act together and help the USMNT hold the bottom block as steady as possible. Yet they have struggled against some lower opposition, if you want to call it something. But I think this time around, it's time for them to step up and prove that they are the A team pair of center backs, right? And lastly, I also want to mention, I think Tyler Adams should be a player
Needs
to
to step
follow.
up.
Yeah, he needs to step it up. I think you're absolutely right in your assessment that the biggest fights in this match will happen in the midfield. And even though we have mentioned that Luca de la Torre with Tyler Adams seems to be a double kill of similar abilities, right? This is the time for Tyler Adams to shine and to take the helm of the team, control the midfield, and put up a good fight against Edson Alvarez, Gilberto Mora, and Marcel Ruiz. If he can contain Marcel Ruiz, right? Because I think that's going to be his main target. He's going to make a lot of damage to Mexico. Marcel Ruiz, it's a small engine, a box to box with offensive vision for Mexico. If Tyler Adams can neutralize that, Mexico's in big trouble.
Good point. I had that as my notes to mention Tyler Adams, who's been quiet all tournament. But I think the thing with Tyler Adams and why he's been ineffective this whole tournament is that he has nowhere to distribute the ball to. When he's playing with the A squad, he can distribute that ball to Weah, who runs it down the flank and kind of holds it, or to Balogun or to Pulisic, who know what to do with the ball. Here, you give it to Luca de la Torre, who's more of a defensive-minded player, just goes back. Or you give it to Aguirre, loses the ball, right? You give it to Malik Tillman. Malik Tillman has probably been one of the bright spots, who can maybe hold the ball a little, but he's definitely not the level of the starting at this, the starting players who Adams is accustomed to having in front of him to distribute the ball towards. So I think I would like to see a formation change for the USMNT, kind of have Adams playing as the one pivot in front of Richards and Ream, where he can kind of control a triangle between those more experienced players and kind of distribute that way if he has to, versus having him and Luca de la Torre kind of playing as that two contención. I just I don't, like you said with the Mexico team, I don't think he's going to reinvent the wheel here. Pochettino, he'll probably stick with his 4-2-3-1. Matt Freese in the back, Freeman, Arston in the left back, right back, Richards, Ream in the middle. Above them, Tyler Adams, Luca de la Torre. Above them, the front line of three of Berhalter, Tillman, and Luna, and then playing lone striker Aguirre. So I think another one that I had here is one to watch, Adrian, are the two forwards of Tillman and Luna. If they're going to damage any of this Mexico squad, if they're going to kind of get past Johan Vazquez, not Johan Vazquez, Álvarez, Cesar Montes, Johan Vazquez, they're going to have to be on their game, right? We saw Diego Luna be dangerous in 20 minutes against Costa Rica, against Guatemala. But can he do that against these higher, better players, right?
Yeah, I think we'll see how much of a test the Mexican defense will be for the forwards in the USMNT, and we'll see if the USMNT can adapt to not having super quick, fast players on the offensive, right? I think the USMNT had relied over the last few years over the wingers and having high-paced players, right? I don't think Diego Luna is necessarily the fastest on the pitch. He's definitely quick with his feet, and he can think quick and make something out of nothing. But if there's something that hurts Mexican defense, is actually physicality and pace. So we'll see if this time around he can find, he can whistle his way into it. He's definitely a very technique gifted player. So it will be interesting to see if he can take one-on-ones against. I think he's going to be facing the right back in this case. Or is he facing
Diego Luna would be facing the Diego Luna plays on the left side, right? So he'd be placing the right side. So he'd be placing the right back.
Most likely it's going to be Julian Araujo.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good match, man. That's going to be a good challenge.
Yeah. Big challenge for Julian.
Yes.
Yeah, to earn his spot. But I agree with you. I think the last 5 years, USMNT has dominated in competitive matches due to that speed, that Tim Weah, that Serginho Dest, that Jedi Robinson, but they don't have that speed right now. So they're going to have to adapt. And in those previous 5 years of USA dominance, they've pretty much controlled the rhythm of the game, also in the midfielder with McKennie and Adams and Musa. Here, I wonder if it's going to be a park the bus, hold your line, low block, and kind of counterattack, or are they going to try to go two por two with Mexico and dominate possession? I think USMNT fans are hoping that their team can hold the ball, because the USMNT is not good at low block. We've seen that time and again, especially with this shaky defense. So what strategy is Pochettino going to implement? Let us know in the comments what you think and what would you like to see for the USMNT in this match. Adrian, predictions time, man. Who do you got?
This is gonna. I have the feeling that it's gonna be a very boring match. I'm not gonna lie. Wow. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very boring. Because I just feel that both coaches, they kind of sort of uh, they are like the counter of each other, right? El Vasco Aguirre, I don't think he's going to be playing any explosive, vertical kick and push kind of thing. He's gonna be more organized and defensive minded. And as you mentioned, I don't think the USMNT is going to try to retain the ball and hold a tight block to see what Mexico has to do. So they're going to be pressing. They're going to be trying to face, counter attacks, and maybe be doing like something flexible in the middle, which I think it's it's pretty level, if you ask me.
So you see the USA trying to do a high press?
I think so. Why not? I mean, that actually
we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
from the US.
I mean, that hurts Mexico. Mexico struggles with high press and low blocks. So if low block is not your thing, you have players who can run, right? Not fast, but they can actually run the pitch.
Yeah.
And they are athletes compared to to what Mexico probably has. I wouldn't doubt it. But anyways, I digress. I go back to the question. I think Mexico's gonna win it by the slightest. I think we're gonna see like a 120-minute match, and Mexico's gonna win like by one goal, like 2-1, 1-0, something along those lines. I think it's gonna be a very, very tough match to watch.
Dang, man, you and I are thinking completely different matches.
Gotcha.
I think this is gonna be like a 3-0 win for Mexico.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by the USMNT squad. I don't think they have the tactics for it. They don't. I don't see Pochettino really adapting, or maybe it's lack of his players where he can have that opportunity to adapt if things go wrong. Would I love to see a complete A team Mexico versus a complete A team USA? That'd be ideal, but this isn't it. And I think Mexico just position by position overpowers the USMNT in this tournament. If the back two for the USMNT, if Tyler Adams steps it up, if Malik Tillman has a game that justifies his movement, his recent purchase by Leverkusen, if Diego Luna has his best game, I think it could be a closer match, and I think it could be a good match. But the way I've seen Aguirre not score, the way I've seen Berhalter be average, the way I've seen Arfton make error tras error, Freese really hasn't been tested too much, so he's still questioned. I just see El Lobo and his crew just being too much for this USMNT squad, and I think Mexico gets to the 10th Gold Cup. But we'll see what happens.
That's a dire way to see the game, dude. I think I see both teams to be a little more level than what you think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have these conversations, man. That's why it's interesting to see what happens. Let us know, listeners, PPG Nation out there, what your thoughts are for this match. Who do you have winning it? Do you have Mexico winning their 10th, USA winning their 8th? Do you think it's going to be, like Adrian says, more of a battle? Or do you think it's going to be more one-sided, like I'm saying? Do you think USA wins? Let us know definitely in the comments below on this July 4th weekend. Adrian, man, as we wrap up this episode, brother, your listeners find us, dude.
They can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Last but not least, you can also find us on TikTok and Instagram. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us on your preferred social media platform and stick it to our PPG for more USMNT, Liga MX, and El Tri content. Adrian, see you, brother.
Deuce.
Deuce.